Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Carlos Gill here, sitting in San Diego next to Mike Stelzner, founder and CEO of Social Media Examiner. How's it going, Mike?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I'm here at my 4th Social Media Marketing World. This is your event. This is your brainchild. It's the 6th Social Media Marketing World Conference, and you're expecting over 4,000 people here in San Diego.
Yeah, we're super thrilled, man. We got 4,100 coming, and we got another 2,000 online. So it's pretty crazy.
So let's just jump right into it. Social Media Marketing World is the largest marketing conference for practitioners of social media.
Absolutely.
You're in your 6th year of existence. How have you gotten to this point that you've gone from a conference that 6 years ago was in its early stages to today drawing over 4,000 people in person?
I think it's all about understanding who your tribe is. You know, it's all about knowing what their needs are, recruiting people that can provide what they need. So for example, you know, a couple years ago, Snapchat was really crazy, and that's where you came on the scene. And just kind of staying with the trends of the industry and actually staying a couple steps ahead, and then bringing those experts to the event. And then when those experts are there to teach, people come to the event, and then they love it, and they come back and they tell all their friends about it.
So something that stood out to me is you mentioned the word tribe.
Yeah.
How has Mike Stelzner built his tribe on social media?
It's been a crazy ride, my man. You know, in the beginning, it wasn't about me. In the beginning, it was about the brand, Social Media Examiner. And over time, I began to inject myself into it. So about 5 years ago, I started a podcast called the Social Media Marketing Podcast. And all of a sudden, I had people saying, instead of "I love your blog," they were saying, "I love your podcast." And then recently, I started doing my own show called The Journey, which is basically a documentary about my company, and I'm the central character. And that love has been taken to like an entirely new level. So while I'm not necessarily comfortable being the personal brand behind the business brand, I've had to embrace it. It seems like my community really loves it, and it's actually helped the business quite a bit.
You know, you mentioned vlogging through The Journey, which is a representation of you managing your company. Would you recommend for entrepreneurs out there that are either just starting off their company or they're, you know, at a stage like yours, would you recommend vlogging for them as a viable channel for them to grow their business? Yeah,
I think that the idea of whether you create a series or a show like we've done, or whether you just even go regular on stories, you know, whether it's be Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook, I think the idea of creating regular video content is absolutely essential. And I don't think we can underestimate the importance of connecting with people as we truly are. And I'm sitting here, but I normally dress like you do, Carlos. I'm normally a t-shirt and flip-flops CEO, and it turns out people actually can resonate with that because they look at me and they say, wow, you're just like I am. I like that. I trust that. And that know, like, and trust establishes as a result of doing vlogging. And then from that, business just seems to thrive.
I gotta say, one of the things I like about seeing your vlog is really how you collaborate with your team, and how it shows for me as a leader how you communicate, how you delegate, but also how you bring them into your business. And it really shows when you come here to Social Media Marketing World, and you see a lot of the same faces that you see in the vlog, that you see also on your Friday social media show on Facebook. So kind of speak to you, Mike Stelzner, as a leader, as really the captain that's driving this ship. What motivates you? What really drives you?
You know, there's a lot of thought leaders out there that are all about automating things and about like scaling themselves out of the business. And I actually believe it works a lot better when you're willing to be in the business. And I believe that, I know that what motivates me is the idea of changing people's lives. So I think people see it when they watch some of the content that we produce. I'm pretty intense about what I do, but I believe the best form of marketing is to help people either break through some of their mental barriers, or to find a tip or technique that will allow them to be more successful, or ... all those kinds of things. So our marketing philosophy is my personal philosophy, which is just to give everything away for free. So much so that these people want to share it. And when they share it, they become evangelists for your business. And when they become evangelists for your business, just a little bit drop out of the bottom of the funnel and become customers. And that's really all you need in the end of the day.
Fantastic. So let me go ahead and break that down. Let me paraphrase that. You create content that people relate to.
Right.
You create a brand around that content, which is your company and the people also within that organization.
Right.
And then as folks consume, then they get to understand what it is that you do, and they feel much more inclined to buy because they trust from you.
Absolutely. I mean, like, we are at an event right now that starts with the word social, okay? And there's another event nearby that has the word conversion in it, okay? And there's a big vibe difference between an event that's got this social vibe where people are coming together, they're smiling, they actually want to interact with people. And believe it or not, there's just something magical about that. And I think that what I try to do with my business is to take the true meaning of social and to bring it to life in the flesh, in the presence. And I think so many of us that operate in this online universe, we forget how valuable that is. There's a reason why social media is popular, is because it's a representative of what happens in real life. And so much of us operate in this online medium. Let's bring more activities together. Let's go have more experiences with each other. When you do that kind of stuff, man, it takes the customer fandom to an entirely new level. Don't you agree?
I absolutely agree. And you have to come to social media marketing world to really experience it.
Right.
I've been here now 4 years in a row. I continue to see it grow, and I think once again, a lot of that is a testament to the brand that you built.
Right.
But you didn't always have that brand.
Right.
So what were you doing before you started up Social Media Examiner?
You know, I was a writer. So, and I started out in the world of writing, and I worked for big businesses like Microsoft, FedEx, Dow Jones, Hewlett Packard as a gun for hire. And they would hire me to come on board, interview their techies, and translate it into language that customers can understand. So I've always been kind of a communicator at my core, but it was in the written word. And it turns out that when I started a blog, that skill came in really handy, which was Social Media Examiner. And now that written communication skill is now become a verbal communication skill. And we're now in an era now where writing is important, but man, if you can communicate verbally, that's everything.
Excellent. So let's switch gears. Let's talk about the subject of mentorship for a moment.
Yes, sir.
So I don't think a lot of folks out there know that we've formed a relationship
Right.
over the last couple of years. I say that you've mentored me, if it's okay that I say that.
Yeah, that's true.
And mentorship has made a big impact on my career.
Right.
Not just through mentors like yourself, but others coming up. I
Right.
wouldn't be at the spot where I'm at today if it wasn't for individuals like yourself that have opened up the doors for me.
Right.
Can you speak maybe to anyone out there who's just getting started in their journey, if
Yeah.
you will, why mentorship is more important than motivation?
Well, first of all, seek out mentors if you are just getting started in something. I would tell people, don't try to be a lone ranger like I was and do it all on your own. Try to seek someone who's a little further down the path. And if you are someone who's a little further down the path and you see someone who has potential, offer yourself to them, because it's just really awesome. And I say do for a few what I do for a few what I wish I could do for many. You're one of the few that I've done this for. But it's super rewarding to actually kind of pay it forward almost, you know what I mean? Because there's always people that are in our life that gave us a little nudge or a little point in this direction that maybe we don't even realize what they were doing at the time, but down the road we realize, man, that little nudge sent me in a path that sent me to success, and if I didn't get that little nudge, I might not be where I am right now. So I just think that's part of what we're called to do, man. I think we're called to not just keep it all, but to give some of it back.
Would you say that's what makes Mike Stelzner famous? Is your
don't-
servant mindset?
I would say that's true, but not famous. I would say what makes me known is the fact that I'm a regular Joe. You know what I mean? When people meet me, they're surprised that I'm just a normal guy. And I think that exercising humility in light of success is essential, because we've had a lot of bad role models, over the last couple of decades. You see some of these athletes that are successful and they're total jerks, but then you see the ones that are super nice and humble. I think people resonate with people that are more like them. And we don't want to be someone who puts a barrier between us and others. We want to actually create something that will attract people to us. And I think exercising humility, regardless of your level of fame, is probably my secret sauce.
Excellent. Well, I was actually going to ask you, what is your secret sauce?
That's part of it.
We'll go down the other path, though.
Okay.
So you've got a lot of entrepreneurs out there that, for them, being famous, and that's why I asked you the famous question,
Yeah.
or being known, they think that just because you're known and you're popular online that you've
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah.
At what point did you really sit back and say, you know what, I've made it?
I don't feel like I've made it yet. And I know it feels kind of strange for you to look at me and say that, because I'm never satisfied I'm always aspiring for the next biggest thing. I think if I were to go back in a time machine and look into my future, I wouldn't believe that I'm the one sitting here and someone is interviewing me. But at the same time, I am so much charging forward. I don't really, the old me used to care a lot about fame, let me be honest with you. And I think
why is that, Mike?
I think fame is dangerous, guys. I mean, like in the end, we can kid ourselves into believing that we no longer need to work hard. We no longer need to do anything because we've made it. And then when you stop and all of a sudden everything around you crumbles and you realize, whoa, actually the treadmill never stops. And you need to be okay with the fact that we're in constant motion. Just like these trays that are going by right now.
Which, for all the aspiring content creators out there, case in point, if you're watching this or listening to this right now, there's a group of caterers who are walking right by us.
Yeah.
But with that being said, always expect the inevitable. But no, I really like how you mentioned fame, because once again, you're constantly hearing this message of hustle.
Yeah.
And we're at a conference that is teaching bloggers how to be better at blogging.
Right.
And it's teaching marketers how to get more reach.
Right.
But at what point do you really draw the line when it comes to what's a priority versus what isn't a must-have?
Well, I think that the idea of always being back in the day, I used to work at Sears. A guy in the vacuum department said, I say, how's it going? He's all, the biggest room in my house is the room for improvement. And I love that because the idea is to always be saying there's room for improvement and to always be seeking constant improvement. If you are always willing to invest in yourself and never accept the fact that you quote unquote made it, then you can accomplish amazing things. Because in the end, if we say, I'm just going to run the race, and then once you get to the finish line, you quit and you're done, what good is that, right? I mean, you think about some of the best athletes in the world, some of the best musicians in the world. You think of Prince, Here's this guy who played guitar like 18 hours a day. He was never satisfied with, necessarily, well, I guess maybe Prince isn't the best example. But the moral of the story is, I don't believe we should ever pursue fame. I don't believe we should ever say I need to be perfect. Instead, I think we need to say there's always new things that I could be learning. There's always better ways for me to improve. And I don't care if you're 80 years old. I don't care if you're 20 years old. You just, just kill that idea that perfection is important. Kill that idea that fame is important, because in the end, it's vanity, man. Some of the most lonely people in the world are the most famous people in the world.
Interesting.
And you know what? I've had fame, man, and let me tell you, it's bitter. And I think if you really want to make a difference in people, have friends. Seek friends over fame.
Build your tribe.
That's right, man.
As we look to wrap up,
nurture them.
That's a key right there.
Yeah.
Don't just make the friends, but go ahead and cultivate those relationships. As we look to wrap up, Mike, where do you go from here? What's next?
I have crazy big dreams, my man. I desire to fill this whole convention center someday. But what's next for me is, I'm going to walk away from this conference and I'm going to be happy that we've changed a lot of lives, and then I'm going to be working to make next year even better and even bigger. And I'm going to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. That's my plan.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mike.
My pleasure.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. Me too.
Thanks for having me here.